So I thought I'd do my brain first because it's what I'm thinking about right now. My name is Ina Irby. I have a cavernous malformation in my frontal cortex. There we go. And it causes tonic-clonic seizures. So it's, unless I am on medication, my seizures just start acting up. And so far, I've maintained, but until April 8th, it kind of came out of the blue. So I had a major grand mal seizure on April 8th. That gives you a little background. I'm on medication, and the same medication actually that I was on before, only now they've upped it. And it is very difficult to have just normal routine. It is hard because your body's getting used to the medication. And even just a little bit more always sends my body, I'm so sensitive, so it sends my body into reaction mode. And I talked about my prescription drugs, and I've been on a lot of prescription drugs, and even the newer ones, and they just threw me right into depression. And it was awful. And it did sort of help some of the seizures, but not really. So actually, my doctor put me on an older drug, and he was surprised. This was many doctors before the one that I have currently. And so, yes, he was surprised that the older drug was really good for me. And the only reason why that the pharmaceutical companies, right, give you newer drugs is because, there's nothing really stopping them. They want more money. So the older drugs will be just fine sometimes, but they have something new and something new and something new and something new, and it gets more and more expensive. Fortunately, the drug that I'm on is inexpensive. I find that my tasks during the day, I tried making a copy today, and it had double-sided on it, and I think I did it like 4 times because I just, 1, my stupid printer, and 2, I don't remember. I can't remember how things go. And even with the printer that I've been working with for 15 years, you hit that double-sided and everything just kind of goes crazy. And it's hard for me. So yeah, I have a hard time, right? Remembering things. So I feel more lethargic throughout the day around 11:30, which is it's about 11:30. I feel tired, and I needed to kind of take a nap and just kind of reboot, right? But you can't do that when you're working. You gotta stay on a certain pace, otherwise you end up, right? They're not gonna put up with that. So yeah, figuring out that kind of is hard. It's difficult to try and figure out, a routine that my body will keep up with. And I get irritated. I get really irritated with my family because they're closer to me. So I get a little frustrated and irritated, and they're like, well, why aren't you being more positive? Well, I'm trying. This is hard, right? It's hard. It's not easy to be on drugs and maintain your relationships and keep healthy and, just doing normal activities. You feel lethargic all the time. And that's where I am right now. It is hard. It's not easy to be able to be on drugs and your body function the way that a normal body should. And that's where I get a little frustrated too, because in the morning, that is my clearest time of the day. So, wasting that little tiny bit of time, I have to think, okay, what's more important? What's more important? Is it me that's more important? Is it work that's more important? What is more important? spending time doing something I like for those few minutes that I get clarity. It's not easy. It's hard, and trying to be very positive and realize, what? The brain it has neuroplasticity and you can get through it. Looking for different ways to get out of pain, I think, too. Mother's Day is coming up. And there's a lot of things that come with those feelings. So learning how to try and think differently is a challenge, because my brain will always go back to my old ways of thinking, which it's just, it brings up sad things, and I wish it wouldn't. I wish it would just kind of stop doing that, because then it makes it even more challenging. The way the drugs work are to deaden certain areas. And because this certain drug that I'm on, it's supposed to help with anxiety, which to some extent it does, right? And I feel when it's lowering, I can feel the more anxiety that I get, the more frustration that I get. And then when I pick up again, then I'm a little bit more balanced. My family doesn't always understand. My husband does the best that he can, but he has a lot of pressure trying to keep all of the finances, right? When you lose that extra bit of money, and it's difficult for the family. So I have a hard time, trying to maintain something. He tries to be understanding, but it is what it is. Your family members are not going to understand what you go through. They do the best they can, but they're not experiencing what you're experiencing. So that's a little difficult. I'm going to have to say that's difficult. I wish that I could maintain a normal life and still, have these issues, and it's not possible. You have to do the very best that you can under physical trials. And if you're out there sitting there thinking, oh, I understand because you're dealing with the same things. Yeah, you do. It's hard to explain them. It's a challenge to get through the day sometimes. My medication, like I said, it was great when it was, the way that it was before. And now just that little bit more, it's just so frustrating. So I'm a bit slow in almost everything. And that to me is, I'm doing the best that I can. And I have to remember that. I think being kind to myself during these situations helps. And looking at other experiences where people have it a little harder than me, so that I realize, this is how it goes when you have these issues, brain issues, and it's a challenge. It's hard for people, and depending on where you live, right? Surgery could be an option, but I don't necessarily know if well, for one thing, I don't know if the doctors would do it. And, the doctors here, they work with people, but one thing, you have to have enough money to cover it, right? You have to have enough money to cover it. They just don't do it just because they think you're a human being. As a human being, you could survive a little better. No, that's not how it is in America. You really are, you struggle, especially if you're middle class. And it was so weird because we made the cutoff by $1,000 and threw us into a different tax bracket. So what help we got last year, we do not get it this year. That's how it is here. It's so sad. I really wish that there was an opportunity for universal health care, because there's a lot of people that have a lot more difficulties than I do. At least I can walk and I get to see the beauty around me, and that calms my heart. The ocean, amazing, calms my heart. I'll show you a few things that make me happy in this on this particular video, because it really does make me happy. It makes my brain happy. I love planting, right? Touching dirt, going out and feeling the water, feeling the different animals in the water. You'll see in the clips that I have that I'm going to attach this to. They came up to the beach, and you get to see the jellies. At first I thought it was plastic, right? Thrown away plastic, maybe dumped from a ship, but actually it was the jellies. They were jellies, and it felt like plastic. It feels like plastic. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I am so ashamed. As human beings, we do this. And no, it was the jellies. It was so strange. And so the girls and I got to feel it, or Ellie did. And then a couple of weeks later, we saw another portion of the jellies, and they were the blue parts of the jellyfish. It's so hard to explain. And you could see the tentacles, and they were softer than maybe softer than the plastic that had come the week before, or the plastic looking jelly. I know it's hard to explain it. It's so neat. So those things make me happy. And making sure that I get out and walking in the morning. I mean, even if it's 7 minutes, I go out and I time myself for 7 minutes to get out there and walk. A cup of coffee. My coffee, actually, though, I've managed to try and eat first before I take my coffee, because with my coffee and my drugs, oh my, I mean, it's like a bomb. It's like a bomb. It just shoots up my cortisol level. I start worrying about things that, I mean, really have no control over. And as a mom of teenagers, it's hard. Keeping my mouth quiet as much as I can, which you learn in Al-Anon, trying to direct the children, but also know that they make their own choices in life, and I cannot control them. And giving them choices, and that really helps, giving them choices. I noticed too, control, right? There's control issues because my father was an alcoholic, so learning to let things go is not easy. I like control. I like routine, because this way I can manage it. And this is why my brain not working is not how, that was not in the program. That was not how it was supposed to be. I knew what I was doing. The better part of my years was spent nice and healthy, but in a very terrible cult that didn't let you become who you wanted to be, or didn't encourage your differences, right? So that's where I am right now. Hopefully it gets better. Hopefully I can learn to function with the dullness that comes with it. It's so challenging when you're in a dull form. And yeah, that's, when you just can't think clearly, or your body and your mind, your body might be willing to do something, but your brain is telling you, oh, but we're so tired and you better rest. And I've learned that I have to do that in order for me to have a good day and not have my body react in any way, because I push myself. So learning where that, learning that is a challenge, and still being able to maintain a job and a home and being a mom. And yeah, so, well, I do hope this helps you, because it's hard. And we don't always talk about the difficulties and the challenges when it comes to seizures. And having them and being able to get through life with them. And I'm like in my own little category. Again. So yeah, big hugs out there. If you're struggling with health issues, just know, I'm here too. And regardless of, even if you don't, like, if maybe it's kidneys or you're dealing with there's a lot of people that have lost limbs because of diabetes, right? Our country doesn't eat very well. So that diabetes is really high on the list. Heart conditions. You have to really watch your weight and be able to, because you're on drugs, and that throws you into something else. Yeah, so we have to be careful. We have to be careful with our bodies and listen to our bodies, which we're not really trained to do. Not here in America. Like I said, big hugs. Let's try and get through the day. Just know you're loved. People around you love you and care for you, and well, we're all in the same boat, right? We're all in the same boat. And eventually, if you're not there, you will get there, because age happens. That's what happens. You start to age, and things kind of, I always feel like I'm like the car, and then you look back and you realize that you've dropped a couple of things off the car, and the car's still, it's going, but it's kind of slow now because you lost some really important items to keep that car going. That's me. One of it, you lose an engine, and that's not good. My brain, that's my engine. Anyway, big hug, and hang in there. I'll show you, like I said, some of the things that I love and that make me happy. Follow your bliss and be a good human. You could see how I could accidentally have thought that it was plastic. There you see plastic, and then you see me picking up the jelly, which looks almost exactly like plastic, only smaller. And yeah, so there's it connected to that kind of blue stuff, but it all looked like plastic, and it felt like plastic. So now you see the difference. Oh, that it is connected to the blue jelly itself, the jellyfish. And like I said, I don't know what kind of jellyfish this is, but you can see me touching the tentacles, and then you see the tentacles kind of dangling. I was so relieved to know that what I was looking at throughout the shore of the beach, was not anything that was humanly made, right? That it was from the earth, and that plastic, that it looked like plastic, but gratefully it was just something that was living in the ocean. It was an animal living in the ocean that I didn't know existed. Gratefully, it's out there for a reason. Not sure why. Well, I'm grateful that I can send it safely back and know it's not going to harm anything. Off you go. Back into that beautiful, open space. Bye. Follow your bliss.